Hello, everyone. And I know I've been saying this a lot, but welcome back to Olive Tech Talk series. And the topic we have for this particular session is Partners Playbook Strategies to Harness the Full Potential of Their Partnership. Yes, Dilyana, what do you have in store for us?
Yes. So that's one that's very close to my heart because I've been on both ends. So I used to work for a number of different partners before, now working on Microsoft. So that gives me a good perspective of how the world looks like on both ends, and it's quite different. So I think it's important to talk about how we can help the two sides. So I'm not even going to talk about the technical side of things because as a partner, being sharp and technically capable is something that I take for given. You need to know your stuff. You need to have passed your exams. You need to have your certifications. You just need to know your stuff. There is no getting away with it. Um, what I want to focus a bit more on is the soft skills side of things. But again, that only comes after you're technically capable. There are no soft skills that can help you if you don't know your stuff technically. But once you have passed all of your certifications, I think the most important advice I can give people and partners is think big and just be bold. So, as I said, prior to Microsoft, I worked for a number of different partners. So, I know how easy it is when you work for a partner day in and day out to focus on only on the task that you are given. So, that's a tunnel vision. And I think that's where we have seen most of the projects fail because what the customer from a customer point of view, what they pay for is consultancy. They pay for somebody to be a trusted advisor. They pay for advice. They pay for somebody to tell them if they're planning to do something and it is not the right thing to do because they don't know better. Their day job is something completely different. Their day job might not be tech. It could be healthcare. They could be busy doing surgeries and operations and saving lives. They're not that busy. They're not bothered about exactly what product they need to use. They just want the system to work and do their job. That is your job as a partner. That is your job as a consultant. So back to my point, sometimes in the partner space, we get very focused on the small little project that we are given at hand. So I think the best advice is don't just execute. They usually don't want an engineer. They want a consultant. So consult, consult, consult. Because once you're the person who talks to the customer most as a partner, you know their pain points, you know what they struggle with day in and day out. So think big, be bold, suggest things because you know their pain points and you know the Microsoft tech, so you're the best person to know how those two marry together. So you are the best person to tell them, oh, this might work here. Have you tried this? Do you know there is that new product or that new feature in the portfolio that can really help you with that specific challenge that you're having just now? And that will help the conversation because the more departments, the more people, the more licenses you buy. So the more department that get on board, the cheaper everything goes. So the conversation gets easier. So in pre-sales, sometimes we say first you win their hearts and then their wallets. But I think that is really important. You cannot just go and say you need to buy a license that costs that much because that conversation never goes down well. It's important to understand the pain points and it's important to make them see the big picture because the customer might not be focused on the big picture at the moment. You as a consultant, you as a partner, it's your job to show them the art of the possible, to tell them that they can be using another five different solutions to solve the problems that they know they're facing, but they don't know that the tech can help with that specific challenge. So think big, be bold is something that I cannot stress enough the importance of when when being a partner or working for a partner. On a different note, change management, super important, massively important. Once you have put your project, once you have you're about to go live, think about, don't just think in terms of features, but think about all of those people that daily life will change. One day, one Monday, they'll come and the system will look completely different. They'll have to do different things. For you, it might be quite simple and straightforward because you have already seen 100 systems like this. But for those people, it's the first time they see something like this. So think about it from the end user point of view. Don't think about it from a feature point of view. Again, in Microsoft, we have a whole department dealing with change management. So there is a lot of resources available for partners that can help with that transition. But that is one of the things that usually either there is no budget to cover it or there is no thinking power and capacity to cover it. But it's super important to think about the change management between systems and how the people will react when that change happens. And that we have seen that being an amazingly important thing, because if people don't like it on day one, it's much more difficult to get them to like the system on day two and afterwards. And we kind of touched on this, but I think what can help is, again, don't think of it as features. Always try to tell a story. I think that's the easiest way to get users on board. So try to tell a story, try to show them how their day will look like once the new system is in place. Start with, imagine if you could do this. Imagine if you could do this with single click or with 2 clicks. Imagine if you have access to that information. Well, you have it now. It's in this report, which is in the new system. So I think phrasing it in that way and putting that spin um, will make a huge difference on how people perceive the work you're doing in the project. And again, there is a lot of resources out there, so just just make sure you know what's there and use it. But I want to finish that one on think big and be bold, because I think that's the message we should be spreading.
Okay, Dilyana, thank you so much. Anything to add up at the end, or any tip, any advice to sum up quite a few things that we've spoken about?
Think big, be bold. I think that's what we finish on. Think big, be bold.
Okay, and with that, I would be wrapping up our series here with you, and we hope to see you again for upcoming Lift Tech Talk series. Thank you so much, Deliana. This was a really, really a very, very interesting conversation, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for your time, Dilyana. There were so many places where, like, I could actually connect with you and say, yeah, the partners actually, face difficulties over here. Whether it is about, not just selling a license, but actually, positioning it as a solution. Probably this is where partners often lag, or, even when it comes to upselling or cross selling, any technology, often customers don't know their own need. They don't know that they have outgrown a solution. And then with partners also not being technically sound, then it becomes a mess there. And then, we face a lot of hesitance or, resistance from the partners also when it comes to upskilling themselves in terms of technology. So that's actually the gap which Aleph is solving. Like we've discussed this earlier, I know, but then just reiterating it that yes, when the partners are hesitant with upskilling themselves on technology, Aleph comes in. So if any of the partners need any advice, I think you would agree with me on that. Partners are a bit hesitant when it comes to, upskilling, and with Microsoft launching so many new technologies and so many new aspects of it, partners could be a little hesitant, but then yes, they have Aleph to back on.
It's all to do with budget, because we all have limited
Right.
time and resources. So if they can spend the day build to a customer, of course they wouldn't spend it upskilling, but it is so important.
Right. I hope we help the customers, the partners get the right message and help them in growing their business. I would look forward to having the resources links from you, whichever you want to share. Please go ahead and share it with me. I would be putting it up in the caption. Thank you again for being an amazing speaker with us, Dilyana. Thank you. I'm sure this is going to benefit the Microsoft ecosystem as a whole.